Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Doctor Who Reviews. This week, we are covering the Rings of Akhaten, which is not one of the 10 worst stories in Doctor Who history. I'm just putting that out there right now.
No less than Doctor Who magazine's 50th anniversary poll helpfully told us this is one of the worst pieces of shit of all time, on the level of Love and Monsters or Fear, or the Twin Dilemma even.
Yeah, that poll was wrong.
No shit.
Brainiac, please put up a picture of a giant middle finger, please. Because they are wrong.
Yeah.
I will go into this in a moment and why they're wrong.
Okay. Well, to go into why they're wrong then, I'm joined by my two usual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, coming to you live from an anime den in Gander, it's Freezing Inferno.
Hey. Oh god, there's hyperdimension Neptunia a foot away from me. Help.
Also explains why your audio is a little bit different this week, but we'll just roll with it. And to my virtual right, some dance to remember, some dance to forget, it's Concave Usurper, better known as Cat.
There's plenty of room here at the Hotel California. For
The
some
Rings
reason,
of
I
Akhaten.
can't seem to get out of it. But I'm sure that'll be fine.
So, I'd like to bring up some things before we start with the Rings of Akhaten. Firstly,
I would also like to bring up some things before we start with the Rings of Akhaten.
Yeah. Firstly, just bring up a weird elephant in the room. You remember when this episode aired? April 6th, 2013, I believe. I watched it that evening, and you know where I watched it? I watched it just a foot to the right from where I'm standing, right where I'm sitting right now.
Oh my
That's
god!
Right.
We've come full circle.
That's right.
One
It's
could
me.
say you're mirroring yourself.
It's me. I'm the Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
Hang on, I gotta scroll down.
Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
There you go.
We might get a lot of use out of that today, considering this is a Clara story.
Oh no!
Okay, just to be able to save all of our ears and our sanity, here is the cover for every single mirror alert that is going to happen.
Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
And I will never push that button again this entire podcast.
I have a
This
feeling you're
episode.
going to break
This
that, but we'll
episode.
find out.
So, as we said, this is one of the 10 worst stories on the Doctor Who 50th anniversary poll.
Except it
That
isn't.
is-
But
That is utterly
This
and
is
completely
something that's
wrong.
known as wrong.
I am actively a little offended by the fact that a sizable chunk of Doctor Who, sizable enough, the percentage of Doctor Who fans that vote in such polls as this, could look at this story and put it on the level of Love and Monsters, of Twin Dilemma, of Fear. It actively offends me because this is one of the most beautiful Doctor Who episodes I've ever seen. It might be one of my new favorites.
this also offends me, couldn't you tell by my voice?
And entering the room, surprisingly, is Mr. BlazeFury. Say hello.
I like swords.
Insightful commentary.
Also, Rain,
Best cameo,
I hope you
best
have
cameo,
this
5 out
up.
of 7.
I hope you have this up the entire time that Fred is talking about the.
yeah, alright. I will
Yes.
allow that.
So, with all that in mind, why don't we get into the Rings of Akhaten?
Yeah, okay. So, this is the...
Well, I
seventh.
have one thing I need to bring up before we do
Oh,
that.
go ahead, please, Kat.
Everybody, please go watch. And pardon me, I'm trying to make sure I pronounce this correctly. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Okay.
New Marvel
My
movie?
intro will make a lot more sense once you do so.
Is that good, is it?
It's really good. This is a very slight, small spoiler that will not ruin the movie for you. It is the very first movie that I've seen where it has a platonic relationship as the main characters, and it sticks with that.
That...
They do not fall in love. They are still friends.
I mean,
by the
I'm
end of the
probably going to
movie.
see one film this year, and that's Bond, but I'll definitely see that when it comes on DVD or...
See 2 films this year. Make the second, Shang-Chi.
I highly recommend it. It is fantastic. It's funny. It's exciting. It's got gorgeous visuals.
I mean, your recommendations usually pan out, because you recommended Knives Out, and that was fantastic.
That was such a good movie.
But yeah, this
So,
is the 7th episode then of series 7, which was shown in 2 parts to quite a bit
Lucky
of
7.
derision from the fan base. They didn't like that at all.
Well, we all know why. It's because it involves emotions.
I mean, we're going to get into this, but you're
Tell me
not
I'm
really
wrong.
You're not wrong, Kat.
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
You're not wrong at all.
That is my thesis for why this is one of the most hated episodes.
Because they're wrong. We've already established this. It's the most hated episode because they're wrong.
Also, a better pyramid than the Monks trilogy. Just saying.
Yeah?
Yeah? Yeah?
God, yes.
Yeah. So, the story then.
Yeah, so as I say, part of Series 7, and it's not Clara's, I suppose, Clara Prime's debut, but it is her first trip inside the TARDIS.
Yeah, she debuted in Bill's St. John.
Yeah, Oswin
Which
never
is
got to go in the TARDIS, Victoria and Clara never got to travel inside the TARDIS, but this Clara Prime, does. But before we can get to that...
I'm sorry. This is really fun to me.
What, calling her Clara Prime?
Yeah.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
You know what? It matches
Megatron!
the whole 10 Rings thing even better because Marvel is known for having multiple universes. What do you know? There are multiple Claras, one for each universe.
Megatron, something mutually assured destruction. So, we start with the... We don't start with the Doctor, funnily enough. We start with a man nearly getting run over.
Yay, Back to the Future.
Because a leaf blows into his face to blind him. He stumbles into the street, but then he's grabbed by a young lady and saved from certain death. And while this is going on, the Doctor is observing, reading a copy of the Beano, which is adorable.
That's cute. I like that gag.
I had a lot of Beanos when I was a much younger man.
The weird thing about the Beano, I think, is that both independently of each other, the US and the UK invented comic characters called Dennis the Menace, and they're completely different.
Yeah.
But they're both named Dennis the Menace.
But not in this country. In this country, he was just called Dennis.
Well, same deal.
And maybe it was the same
Also,
in
let
America.
me just go ahead and tell you what Beano means in my country.
Oh,
the
God.
USA.
Okay.
So
God.
I got a laugh out of this comic for an entirely different
To
reason.
this day, I don't know why it's called the Beano. I think it might be a Scottish humour thing, because I think it's printed in Scotland.
Yeah.
But,
see.
yeah. But anyway, the two immediately hit it off, and, you know, they get married. And then we see a series of scenes, quick scenes, showing them growing up together. Ellie, the girl's name is Ellie. She has a child, and it's time the Doctor sees her, and that's the young Clara.
You're missing one important thing that the guy says after they have a date together and come back in the rain. He kept the leaf
Yeah, because it's the most important leaf in human history.
because of the random causal chain of events. That exact leaf had to grow on that branch and come off at that exact time and hit him in the face at just the right time, so they could meet and fall in love, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, random causality led to them being together, so it's important.
It's also adorable.
these-
My heart is about to break.
And these are Clara's parents, and they, so they have Clara, they raise her, she grows up, all this stuff. And we get a cute scene with Clara as a child beating the Doctor in the head with a football.
Yeah.
Oh, we should also mention that at this point, when Clara was still a toddler in this little montage, Ellie, who is her mother, gives her the 101 Places to See book,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
which will be important for later.
Very important.
Yeah.
And sadly, when we cut to the final scene, Ellie has tragically died because it's a teenage Clara with her father. They're both inconsolable, standing in front of her grave.
So here's a fun fact. Kristen McTeer, author of Back to the 11th Hour, available now on Amazon.com, mentioned this to me when I was telling her about watching the episode, that TARDIS Wiki has a theory, given that Ellie Oswald's death date is the 5th of March 2005, which is supposedly the same date that Rose happened. So
Yeah.
TARDIS Wiki theorizes that Ellie Oswald died to an auton.
It's a perfectly
I don't
decent theory.
I don't like it. I don't like it because as we'll get to, it's a meshing continuity hounding. Oh, she must have died in an epic continuity reference way, versus just she died and it was sad in a normal ordinary way,
Yeah, you're right.
which
A
is kind of
completely
a thing.
ordinary, normal way, much like how eventually Danny Pink would die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Something
which
mirroring.
which I don't know if you know, but contrasting the epic continuity with the very ordinary and personal is kind of the theme of the episode.
Absolutely. And from there, the Doctor basically speed runs through Clara's life up to the present day. He sees her graduating on the screen of his TARDIS. He looks up Victorian Clara and Oswin Clara, just to check that she's a perfectly ordinary girl and there's nothing strange going on whatsoever.
Except for
does
the
it
fact that she
backwards.
seems to be in many places at once.
He does a backwards long jump up the staircase to get to Bowser early.
Nice
He says
reference.
speed running.
Nice
Okay,
reference.
I just want to, yeah. So I just want to point out real quick. This is part of the Impossible Girl arc, where the arc is what is the mysterious mystery behind Clara, and Moffat's answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
You're so stupid.
You're so stupid.
And then, of course, there is something,
Which-
but it's not a big mystery.
Which, in my big silence arc discussion post I did on my blog a while back, I mentioned that the Doctor treating Clara like a mystery to be solved is not good, but you can kind of see why, considering all the time travel assassin bullshit with the silence arc in the last season. So,
Yeah.
a mystery girl showing up right on the doorstep to be solved is like, very suspicious, very sus, very Among Us.
And considering later what we know, that she was technically sent by Missy, it's pretty much the best thing to do to the Doctor is send him a mystery.
Exactly. But it's time for Clara to take her first TARDIS trip.
I find it very interesting that the Impossible Girl arc and the Hybrid arc are basically polar opposites of each other, because with the Impossible Girl arc, the destination is better than the journey. Whereas for the Hybrid, the journey is better than the destination.
You know,
more
something
important than.
happens.
More important
I-
than.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the resolution for the Hybrid arc was, we're not going to give you a resolution. So there.
I mean, that's the Moffat for you.
Therefore, the journey was more important than the destination.
Well, yeah. And I mean, Hellbent is more about, Clara's agency than any
Exactly.
arc
Exactly.
bullshit. So.
But yeah,
Which-
so
and-
Clara is finally ready to take her first steps in the TARDIS. She's got the book.
Where do you want to go? The book. Oh, that's so cute.
Look.
And not surprisingly, she's not quite sure where to go first. I mean, if somebody offered, where do you want to go? Anywhere in space and time, you'd find it hard to answer, wouldn't you?
So
Yeah, a little bit.
So she says, I want to see something awesome. And so the Doctor takes her out. She shuts her eyes, and he takes her outside. Ooh, feel the alien sun on your eyelid, and open up. Welcome to the Rings of Akhaten.
Dana, Dana.
My God.
That has nothing to do with this. It felt appropriate.
I mean, I did mention
It's the-
Bond earlier, so it's appropriate, yeah. But,
So it's very pretty.
oh, it's super pretty. The visuals in this episode are stunning.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is one of the most beautiful episodes, I think, of the modern era.
I agree. It's some every frame of painting stuff.
And this is why I'm so upset that they put this in the bottom 10. How can you see visuals that good and think, nah, not for me, mate?
But Brainiac, there aren't any monsters in the story.
There is. There are.
But there's not any continuity monsters. There's no Cybermen shooting with their guns.
There's about 200 monsters if you count all the alien bystanders.
They're making me care about these people. How dare they?
Well, let's talk about let's segue into those alien monsters, because this is another area of the episode I'm very impressed by. So, the Doctor points out a pyramid on one of the floating rocks that make up the Rings of Akhaten. and mentions the religion that worship there and the pyramid and whatnot. What's the exact name, Rain? You got it in your notes?
Oh God, the portion of the pyramid.
Yeah, who are the people in red who worship there?
Oh my God, it's like the choristers of. I didn't
The
write this
Something
down.
of-
singers.
The something of Boris. There you go.
Something of Boris, yes. The Sun Singers of Akhet.
Yes. So then they go. Then the Doctor and Clara head to the space market on the main thing of Akhaten. And here's where we just get the costume designers going ham because there's just so many varied and interesting, and I'll say it, gonzo alien designs here.
Look, they were finally given a budget. They wanted to be able to use it.
The really surprising thing is that nearly none of these aliens resurface.
That's wild.
And here's where I wanted to say something. I don't remember Doctor Who doing a big alien pack scene like this since then. Not to this scale.
No, I don't think we.
The Trap Street's got some aliens in it. In Face the Raven, but not to this level.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are
This is-
existing aliens. They're not brand new things we've never seen before.
Yeah. The Trap Street is something like it, but it's not quite as expansive as this.
Because
This
the
is
really
very
important
impressive.
concept here is that the locals all believe that all life in the universe originated on the 7 planets of Akhaten.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why
we
you've got
got
such a melting pot of different races and.
And hey, wait, how can the traditional fandom hate this? There's a first Doctor reference here. Y'all like continuity, right?
Yeah.
Because the Doctor mentions he came here a long time ago with his granddaughter.
No,
So-
see, it involves continuity and emotions. And as soon as you bring emotions into it, apparently it's a really shit episode.
So what you're saying is that the Doctor Who fandom are Cybermen.
Yes,
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
it makes a hell of a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
1 second.
And Matt Smith is completely at home in this alien marketplace. He's just in his element.
As
Mhm.
usual, he's very wonderful.
He grabs like this blue fruit off a market stall and sniffs it. He gets into a sort of a greeting with a big alien in a black armor suit.
It's so good. And then he starts barking.
Yes.
Oh yes. So this one alien starts barking at Clara. Clara's like, "What the fuck?" And the Doctor comes in and just goes, "Burp, burp."
This is Doreen.
And she was asking if Clara wanted to rent her moped, her space moped that flies in space.
Interesting, don't you
And
think?
in fact,
Yeah, sorry, Kat.
well, I was just going to point out that their TARDIS Wiki actually has a theory that the whole reason that she could not understand this alien is because the TARDIS doesn't like Clara, so the TARDIS did not translate for Clara, thinking that she would leave if she wasn't able to understand anybody.
Oh yeah, that arc is happening in the
That's
Impossible
more of
Girl
a
arc.
plausible
with
theory than what they said about earlier. So yeah,
Mhm.
about
But I
Ellie,
mean-
her mother.
You don't need the episode to spell it out for you. That's just something that you can
Apparently,
take on
some
your own.
people do.
Yeah, some people just don't have that sort of, media awareness, media savvy, critical thinking
Metatextual
skill.
elements in my Doctor Who. Get out of here.
Oh, and then we get another explanation of the rules of the place, where instead of, using money, like, what's this capitalist bullshit, they trade with barter using items of sentimental value, psychically imbued with their history. So the more history an item has, the more inherent value it has.
Yeah, and Clara's horrified by this.
It's a different value system.
I mean, I'm pretty sure most people would be because it's asking you to give up something precious to you.
Hmm.
Wow, also, it's in a society that deals entirely with emotions. Man, no wonder the Doctor Who fandom hates this.
We're slag, okay, we're slagging another dude fan about, but they do love Heaven Sent, and that's a story about grief and emotion. But I don't know if they let. But I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if
it also has other things in it that are more actiony. So
Oh, look, Peter Capaldi acting strongly. Best episode ever.
Mm.
Which I don't want to nag on Heaven Sent. It is generally one of
oh
the best
look,
Doctor
an
Who
episode
episodes.
mostly about the old white man who plays the titular character. Of course,
Oh,
we love it.
oh, fuck. Oh, you make a really good point, and that kind of ruined it for me now.
Yeah.
No wonder they love it more than Hellbent.
You
Ooh.
do make a good point. I still maintain that Heaven Sent is absolutely incredible, but
It's great, but also
I will never let it go.
you can't deny that reading the cat just put up, and that makes me really
I
uncomfortable.
can't deny the reading.
The
It's still my favorite episode. I'm sorry.
the fact
Oh,
that
it's still
it's
my favorite episode too.
the fact that it's the only one of the trilogy without Clara in it, and they love it. Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Anyway, after a bit of a sidetrack where Doreen really wants the sonic screwdriver, but the Doctor is refusing to give it up, and I promise you that will come back in about 10 minutes, we meet our major guest character for this story, as this little girl in red suddenly runs through the marketplace.
Now, this is a very interesting scene. So at this time, we didn't know what the hell was up with Clara. In later seasons, name of the Capaldi seasons, I latched very strongly on the idea of Clara being a mirror of the Doctor, and well, look where we are now. But it's interesting that
Save
for
us.
for the next scene here, for the next like I don't know how long it is between when Clara is left alone here to when the Doctor returns. Clara mirrors the Doctor for a very extended period here. And Kat has promised not to hit the button, so just pretend you heard it in your head.
Here, I'll mime
Yeah,
it for you. Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Whoop.
Ba
Doc,
ba 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 ba.
thank you. So this little girl rushes up and looks at Clara for a bit and then runs away. And then a second later, two guys in red robes are like, "Have you seen the Queen of Years?" Who's that? Never mind. And they go off. And then Clara decides something must be going on. So she goes to look for the little girl who ran away.
Yeah, she separates from the Doctor here, which
Mhm.
is very interesting because, again, this is Clara's first trip inside the TARDIS. And typically companions will try and stick with the Doctor wherever possible on their first journey.
To be
Unless they're
fair, the
forcibly
doctor.
separated.
To be fair, the doctor wandered off first.
Yes, he did. He was eating that blue fruit.
So Clara heads off into the back of the space market to find the little girl.
Yeah.
So she finds her. They spook each other a little bit. They talk, and then Clara just says, "Wait," and the little girl's like, "You have no idea who I am, do you?" No, no. I just saw a little girl who needed help, so I came to help. Which very doctorish.
Yeah, and looking to the future, somewhat very Clara-like.
Oh yeah. Then all of a sudden, oh hey, y'all want some monsters? Here's some monsters.
Oh, these guys are so
Whoosh.
cool.
They're very cool. I'm sure Doctor Who fandom thinks they're underutilized and wasted in the episode, but
I don't
the
think they
hell with
wasted
it.
in the episode. I think it's a shame they never brought them back.
Well, they don't need to come back. Not everything needs to
Well, I
come
think to
back.
make all that effort for that amazing design to have them appear on the screen for less than 3 minutes,
Yeah,
it seems like a bit of a
it's
wasted
a
effort.
it's a good design though. So we don't know what these things are yet, but they teleported and they start creepily going Mary in some point. But Clara and the little girl, do we even know her name yet?
We find out when she gets behind the TARDIS.
Okay,
Yes.
so and there's a really funny scene where Clara and the little girl are sneaking away, and there's this great bit where some guys are approaching, and the girl hides behind Clara, and Clara leans against the wall, and just crosses around, and she's like doo 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 doo,
Yeah,
just whistling. I'm not gonna whistle because it'll peak the audio, but she just whistles and gives them a little nod, just like I'm casually here. Hi guys, it's so good.
yeah. Anyway, they do find out the name of the little girl when they get to the TARDIS and Doctor's not there. So Clara's like, open the doors, and the TARDIS doesn't open the door. The TARDIS
TARDIS
seems
doesn't like
angry.
Clara.
The TARDIS seems to not like Clara. Clara gets angry at this. And then we get the reveal about who this little girl is. And her name is Mary Gallel.
Very.
Mary Gallel. So that's who the Mary was that they were talking about.
Is the Queen of Years.
Yeah.
Who has all the cultural history of this place, all their songs, all their history, all their legends,
And this little girl is played by Amelia Jones, who was the young Princess Fiona in the West End Shrek musical.
Oh my gosh. That's a hell of a segue.
Well, that's the thing that she was most famous for apart from this, so what else am I going to talk about?
Mary's running away because she has to sing a song to a god, but she's scared that she's going to fuck it up. Terrified of it. And so Clara reassures this little girl by telling her a story. She tells her story about her worst fear was getting lost. And one day it happened. She got lost in Blackpool Rain?
Oh, God. Knowing Blackpool like I do, it would have been one of the piers.
You lived in this place.
I know. I'm
know.
trying to remember what she said. I think it's one of the piers. Come on.
It's Bank Holiday Monday, which is that tomorrow as of recording?
No, Bank Holiday Monday was last Monday.
Oh, last month. That's what we did last month. Okay.
Yeah.
We're a week off. Fine.
It's one of the piers. Yeah.
It's just a nice little story. Clara's like, I got lost. Worst thing that ever happened to me. The world ended. I was heartbroken. Then my mom found me, took me home. We had fish and chips. And she told me a story.
And then Mary just sort of looks at it and says, I don't have a mother anymore. They killed her.
Oh, my God.
No, they don't actually do that, but...
No, they don't, but still, even you saying that is, oh, my God.
Wouldn't have just been such a terrible thing because we never see her parents. We never hear about her parents.
No, she was chosen to be the Queen of Years when the old Queen died. When Mary was just a baby. So she's been prepared for this by others all her life, basically.
And we get a nice little flashback to Clara and her mom, where her mom's like, oh, no matter where you are, I'll always find you. Which, it's really sad.
Every breath you take.
God damn.
Oh my God, that's thrown me.
Would you like me to ruin your childhood? All you have to do is call 555. No.
It's very moving and sad because, her mom died, so.
Yeah, and afterwards when she was afraid, but she was never afraid of being lost because of what her mother did for her that day. So Clara does the right thing, or she believes she's doing the right thing, and she finds the two guys in red robes like, you've been looking for this little girl, here she is.
No, she doesn't do that. That's not how it goes. It's very subtle, but she convinces Mary that it's going to be okay, and then Mary goes to them herself.
Then TARDIS Wiki has lied again.
TARDIS Wiki, I swear to God.
Not truly villainous.
No. This time the Wiki itself is not entirely villainous, and not entirely accurate.
And this has been yet another section of things the TARDIS Wiki has gotten wrong. Stay tuned.
God almighty. So yeah, Clara basically helped the little girl get over her fears and said, oh, you'll do great at the concert or whatever it is. She doesn't even know what it is, but she's just like, it's the right thing to do. That's very doctorish again. And who should turn up after this but the doctor? Like, oh well.
Yeah, and he's trying that exotic blue fruit that Clara really didn't like.
Where have you been? Exploring? So then we get on the pyramid, we get monks.
Where have you been? Doing your job, Doctor.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. So from here we get monks on the pyramid singing to a big mummy in a glass case.
Yeah. So these
Still
are the
better
two.
than Lie of the Land.
These are the two. Or at least one of the two that was trying to look for Mary earlier. I have found it's Blackpool Beach. It's just Blackpool Beach.
Blackpool Beach.
So it's not even like a specific location. It's just the beach.
Is it a nice beach?
It's in Blackpool, of
It
course.
depends on who you... Cat? It depends on who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
It
Is a
used to
nice
be terrible
beach?
because it was all like horribly polluted and people threw rubbish in. Then they cleaned up their art and they actually got a green plaque award because it was like a clean beach. And now it's kind of polluted again.
So then, am I wrong?
All I'm going to say is don't tell Extinction Rebellion.
Well, it's okay. They apparently don't know that superglue contains derivatives of ethanol, which comes from refining petroleum, so, you know.
Or if you smash a glass window, it has to be replaced putting more products into the atmosphere. Way to go,
Yeah.
guys. So, ignoring all that nonsense.
There's a big crowd for Mary's song.
Yeah, it's her and one of the choristers, I believe.
No, it's just her.
Or does the chorister walk away?
Well, the chorus is just like, well, there's another guy doing the duet on the other side over on the pyramid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Reality 2,
And,
TARDIS Wiki nil.
This is why I just take my own notes. I don't even look at the wiki.
I took my notes, but they obviously weren't detailed enough. Right, so...
I
Mine
just
aren't
use the
detailed.
wiki to help refresh me on the order of events.
Yeah, and you can't even do that these days.
I take my notes and then I use that plus what I remember from the episode. So
But anyway, you're right. They're singing a duet, but like hundreds of miles away from each other.
anyway, they're all sitting down, and the doctor explains that this is the long song, a lullaby without end to keep the mummy in the pyramid, asleep and dreaming. And
Are you my mummy?
I'm gonna mirror you, Rainiac, and let's praise Murray Gold.
Oh,
That's really
God,
good.
yes. So he wrote all of the incidental music in this episode, and it's just wonderful.
Damn it, Frez, we got through the entirety of the previous podcast without ever mentioning Murray Gold, and you bring it up.
Oh no, I forgot to mention Murray Gold. Oh well.
Eh,
I better make up for it here
Oh.
now, hadn't I?
no.
Listen, Cat. I get the gush about Clara the story. He gets the gush about Murray Gold. It's only fair.
When do I get to gush about something, then?
Pick a story so you can gush about it.
You picked the story, so we could gush about it.
Yeah.
I feel gypped still.
Anyway, this long song is a very long song because it's been being continued for generations and generations to keep the old god asleep.
This is the song that never ends.
It literally is the song that never ends, my friend.
Hot twist. And then It's Always Sunny title card. The song ends.
Yes, but it doesn't end quite yet. It sort of continues in a different form, which is a cop
Honestly,
out.
this part also kind of is confusing to me because they say that this song never ends, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's been going on for generations and generations. What did they do when the original queen died and Mary was a baby?
Because they still had a chorister in the temple to keep it going.
Yeah, but they show that they need both people.
No, as long as one person's singing the song, it doesn't end.
I think this is just part of the festival, and she's joining in on the long song.
Yes, possibly.
That's my read on it, anyway.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
But
I mean-
unfortunately, as you've got like people in the audience, they're holding up precious objects to offer up to the old god to keep him asleep. That's
Appeased.
when all starts to go a bit awry, because the chorister fumbles a verse,
Oops.
and then having done that, something starts to happen, and the chorister changes his tune to a very mournful ballad.
And the incidental music changes too to say, "Uh-oh, shit's going
Yeah,
bad."
this is where Murray Gold really takes over. And what? It's one sentence. And then the pyramid in the distance activates a tractor beam, and Mary is pulled in.
And Clara's like, is that supposed to happen?
She's heading for that small moon.
So the doctor rushes
That's
off.
no
and
moon.
It's a temple. Wait, no.
That's
The
an
doctor
egg.
rushes off.
That's an egg.
I love that. The doctor rushes off, and Clara's rushing by and is like, "Doctor, what are you doing? We can't just walk away." And the doctor turns and he's like, "If you're going to travel with me, you need to get one thing straight. We don't walk away.
Yeah, but you can understand that because he was heading for the exit.
He had a plan.
What was he supposed to think?
What? Well, he was actually heading towards Doreen, the barking moped seller.
Yeah.
The barking moped stellar.
I mean, that's a pretty good description of her character because that's what she is.
The
I know
doctor's
it is, but still,
the
it's funny.
doctor's
She
unwilling.
makes another play for the sonic screwdriver. He really doesn't want to get rid of it, and then there's a really sad moment where they just look down at Clara's hand, and Doreen's sort of like pouring at her hand. It's like, what the hell is she doing? Oh, right, the ring.
It was her mom's ring.
It's her mother's ring, therefore it's sentimental, therefore it's got value. And Clara just doesn't say a word. She just quietly takes it off and gives it to Doreen. You can tell that she's very hurt by this. But they do get the moped.
As they zoom off of the main Akhaten asteroid towards Mary.
And we get off our real chase sequence of this, our only real chase sequence of this whole episode. Maybe it's not very popular because it's low on action in terms of percentage of time on screen.
Well, those people are wrong.
I agree.
Oh man, this doesn't have action. Now, Ascension of the Cybermen, that has action.
Oh, don't
therefore
even
better.
begin to, don't you dare compare this to that. That's
I know,
not fair
right?
on Akhaten.
Frez, I also know where Blaze lives, so I can come find you.
Yeah. I told you at the start, he lives in Anime Deninganda. I can't speak. Words are hard.
Yeah, but can you find me before I leave?
True.
Yes.
So Clara actually nearly gets to Mary because she's on the front of the moped, the doctor's driving it, and Mary's being pulled towards the pyramid, and they almost reach it. There's like nearly a fingertip touch, and then the pyramid says psych, and Mary is pulled straight into it.
Then the doctor and Clara power slide the moped onto the pyramid asteroid just as the pyramid door shuts. And, it's the more sonic screwdriver technobabble. It's got like supersonic, anti-sonic tumblers, a million bajillion combinations or whatever.
Yeah, he can't use the sonic on it. So it's like, well, try to open the door anyway. He uses his shoulder. And hurts his shoulder in the process because it's a stone door. Of course he did. Duh.
But then he does manage to find the right, he technobabbles the goddamn door open.
He reverses the polarity.
Yeah. And Mary is surprisingly unharmed.
Yay.
She's walking towards a giant alien mummy, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, it's waking up, and that's bad.
Its eyes glow red. She's terrified. She's screaming. The doctor eventually gets the door open, but he can only hold it open because plot convenience, I guess.
And it's an extremely heavy door.
Yeah, and he's trying to get Mary to come through it to safety. She won't leave.
Clara gets in and tries to get Mary out of there. And then the doctor eventually just says, fuck it, and he rolls in and he does the Indiana Jones thing of grabbing his Sonic away from the rapidly descending door.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, that
I was going to say it's more wrong jingle, but
I think Clara's just like, did you just lock us in with the alien mummy, doctor?
Yeah, exciting, isn't it?
And then this guy, the guy in the pyramid has constantly been kneeling, and he's been chanting a song, rest your weary head and keep yourself in slumber or something. I don't know the exact tune.
Do not wake from slumber, oh God, do not wake from slumber.
Enter night.
Yeah!
And the doctor's just like saying, oh, he's trying to keep the monster at bay, but it won't work.
He's doing this throughout this whole scene, by the way.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to help. He doesn't chip in.
The guy eventually stops and he just says his name, which I didn't note his name. TARDIS Wiki, did you call him by his actual name?
He's just called the chorister in TARDIS Wiki. But his actual name is Chorister Rez Blafix. And the long song ended with me, and he just teleports away.
Motherfucker teleports out.
Well, he did.
Bye,
He tried to do his
bitches.
job, and now he doesn't want to get devoured.
Yeah.
Because Mary actually says, that the old god wants my soul, but if you're here, he'll eat you too. Mary is
Well,
terrified, but she's trying to save the other two people here.
this is really good. Now I need to praise Murray Gold again because there's a particular leitmotif that comes in during Series 7. I believe it originated in Doctor Widow and the Wardrobe of all things.
Yeah, you're
You heard it
fired.
in Crimson. Yeah, which is it's like an action-y leitmotif remix of I Am the Doctor.
We've done it again. They use it in Crimson Horror when Jenny's fighting the goons.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't point it out, but I remembered it.
I was going to point it out, and I forgot. So,
But this is emblematic of the story and its themes for me because you would expect a tune like that to be for big bombastic action scenes like say Jenny fighting a bunch of goons or whatever happened in Dr. Widow and Wardrobe to warrant its use. I haven't seen that in a while.
I think it's when she's flying the craft.
But here it's used to undercut this nice little scene where Matt Smith is talking to Mary and saying, "Don't sacrifice yourself to this guy. He's not a god. He's just a vampire, but he'll eat your soul just the same. But you don't need to offer yourself to him."
And Clara's been trying to convince Mary. Stop, cat. Clara's been trying to. I know you're excited about No Time to Die as much as I am, but stop.
I'm actually not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you're just doing it to mess with the podcast.
What? Me mess with the podcast? Never.
It's been
It's
7
just
years.
this
We still
lovely
can't
thing
get her
that-
out of this damn show.
I'm insulted.
It's just this lovely thing about how songs are made of stories and then talking about how all the elements in Mary's body coalesced and came to be throughout cosmic explosions. And, he's got some really great dialogue here.
He has.
I don't have the exact quotes on hand, but it's a really good scene. He even goes into Lewis Carroll at one point and mentions sailing ships and cabbages and kings.
Yay.
Oh, we should also point out that when the chorister teleports away, the Doctor just shatters the glass around the mummy anyway.
Well, I mean, as long as the glass is going to stop him, so.
No, the glass doesn't shatter. The mummy shatters the glass himself. It's just cracked.
Reality
TARDIS
3, TARDIS
Wiki.
Wiki 0.
Who wrote this goddamn wiki entry?
Apparently,
How is
one of
it-
the people who ranked it as one of the worst episodes.
Here, let's edit Target Wiki. And then, I don't know, some bullshit with a leaf. Who cares? Worst
And
episode
there's
ever.
an important
Bring
thing
back
here with the Doctor,
Cybermen.
you didn't wake him up, Mary. He's waking up because it's his time to wake up.
0 out of 7. Will not watch again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Bret
So-
Hart gives this a -4 out of 10.
So eventually, those creepy things from earlier actually show up, and they're called the Vigil.
Yeah, I still maintain that they could have done more with these things later on. Why couldn't they have used this as the design for the Whispermen?
That was interesting.
Tie it back to Akhaten and maybe they've been tracking him or something. But yeah, all right. The Whispermen's also a really good design because it's just like a bunch of blank faces in Victorian suits,
Well,
hats.
With them, we get the most action-oriented scene in the episode. I'd say is a straight-up battle that would not look out of place in Hatsune Miku's Harry Potter universe.
Yeah. They
Right,
basically attack the Doctor and Clara with psychic blasts like Jinzo.
I thought it was more Sonic Blast.
They even
because,
look like Jinzo. Bloody hell.
God damn. Eat your heart out, Kazuki Takahashi.
I think Jinzo's the better design, but
Well, they blast the Doctor and Clara away into the wall.
I think they actually
Then
knock Clara out briefly.
But then Clara gets the Doctor his Sonic, and they have a Sonic battle.
Yeah. Now this is silly.
I can roll with it.
This is where they say, "Oh, the Sonic does too much." This is where they're probably right.
I mean, this is why I say that they're using a Sonic attack, because then you can counter it with your own Sonic attack, and have like a Dragon Ball Z beam battle. It's like it's coasting on its own
Sonic
coolness.
boom, Sonic boom, Sonic boom.
Anyway, Clara asks Mary, "Is there another way out of here?" And Mary mentions, oh, there's an old legend about an old song that could open another door. And she sings the song, and it opens up a side door, and they manage to escape. And the Doctor eventually escapes,
Amelia Jones has got a
just
range
as
to her voice. My God.
just as the mummy breaks free of the glass case,
Yeah.
and the visual vanish. It's like, oh, is that good? No, that's not good.
No, because they've done their job now.
Because the Doctor's like, I may have made a little tactical boo-boo. I thought that the old god was the mummy, but it turns out that the mummy was just the old god's alarm clock.
He even calls it that. Grandfather's alarm clock.
Yeah, they call it grandfather, which is an interesting juxtaposition considering that we invoked the first Doctor earlier. So, there's something there if you want to dig. But if the mummy
Anyways,
wasn't,
ignoring all that.
if the mummy wasn't the old god, what's the old god? Oh, that's the old god. Oh, oh dear.
Yeah, it's the damn planet.
It's a
Well, it's not the
fucking.
planet.
It's the sun. It's the sun, yeah, but... And the way that they show that this is actually the old god is fantastic, because they just put an evil face on it.
A giant cosmic jack-o'-lantern.
It's got
Hang
eyebrows!
on, I've got something for you.
The son of a bitch has eyebrows.
Angry eyebrows.
To show how angry it is, I guess.
Pictured here is an artist's representation of what the sun looks like.
Oh boy.
Yeah!
That's not far off.
Yeah,
and I
you know
love
what?
it.
You're not wrong. I was going to put a picture of that pumpkin head monster from Power Rangers, but no, that's better.
Pumpkin wrapping is about to happen.
Oh, God,
jeez.
stop.
No.
So Clara and Mary head back because Clara protests like, well, you told us not to run away. Yes, but also if you have something you need to protect, you need to run. Run as fast as you can.
Wow, Doctor,
So-
give out missed messages, why don't you?
No. You see, it's protecting Mary first. So Clara takes Mary back to Akhaten, the asteroid, the market. I'm just calling it Akhaten for shorthand's sake.
Yeah.
And the Doctor is going to fight off the old god.
Oh, my God, this scene.
Yes.
Dare I say
So-
this might actually define Matt Smith's Doctor.
This is one of those scenes, much like the Pandorca speech, that's famous for getting other doctors to read it at conventions.
I have heard Colin Baker recite this online.
Wow, Colin Baker, the same Colin Baker who trolled me and broke NDA on this podcast.
We don't talk about that. Ninjas, where are the ninjas?
All I can say is that really we should be talking to the 11th Doctor expert, one Miss Krista McTee. But you can actually read her thoughts on it back to the 11th hour and eventually the sequel that would be coming out.
When she
Available
gets
on
to
Amazon.
Series 7, she'll be right about this episode, yes. But
In about a year and a half, you can.
Well, like I said, the sequel.
the sequel to the
But you
sequel,
need to
but
read the
yes.
first one first.
And then the second.
Well,
third.
the-
Series 2nd. The Series 6. Series
Yeah.
2nd? What the hell? Series 6.
So here, this is like you said. It's a wonderful little thing. Why don't you? I've been taking point for a while. One of you two can go wild for a bit.
Oh, God. So, we now split into two areas. You've got the Doctor confronting Akhaten directly, the old god. And you've got Clara having taken Mary safely back to the oratorium where she was performing earlier. And now that she's away from the old god to devour her soul, Mary wants to help. So, with Clara's encouragement, she returns to sing, because what else can she do? She's a little girl. She's the Queen of Years.
We got to praise
and-
Murray Gold again.
She sings the long song. This is called the long song on the soundtrack.
And it's absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. And I believe it is Amelia Jones singing.
And then Matt Smith starts the speech And he
See,
talks
this
about
this is how you do kid actors right. You just let them be kids, but you also don't make them be obnoxious.
She's actually great because she's not a brat.
Yes, she's fantastic.
So-
Ruby.
I want to point out something real interesting about the way this speech starts. Because it's this quote about the old god being a parasite that leeches off others. And this quote stuck with me. And in fact, I used this quote in a little project that I did. Can you guess what the project was on?
Symphogear.
Tim Fagir.
I didn't even need to
You
guess.
got to this line, didn't you, in the bits I've read so far?
Yeah, I opened part one with it
Yeah.
because I was mirroring the line with
Because, spoilers, he's referring to an antagonist of one of those series.
the antagonist of series one.
Yeah.
So anyways, long story short, the Doctor decides that the best thing he could possibly do here is start to offer something big to Akhaten that'll make it fall asleep. And he decides that big thing is the person who has spent the longest time out there in the universe, just experiencing everything, meeting all these people, having all these memories, and that is himself. So who wants to do the speech?
I've
'Cause
got
I'm calling
this.
dibs.
I've got this.
Ah, fine.
Oh, you like to think that you're a god. But you're not a god. You're just a parasite. Eaten out with jealousy and envy and longing for the lives of others. You feed on them. You feed on love and loss and sorrow. So, go on then. Take mine. Take my memories. At this point, there's like tendrils, golden tendrils coming out from Akhaten to grab the Doctor. And then he says, I have lived, but I hope you've got a big appetite because I have lived a long life and I have seen a few things. And then TARDIS Wiki hopefully has got the entirety of the main part of the speech out in its synopsis of the episode. So well done, TARDIS Wiki. Reality 3, TARDIS Wiki 1.
Until it turns out that something in this speech is actually wrong.
No, I know this speech pretty much off by heart, and I think they're accurate.
Aww.
So
Rain, I have a question.
yes,
We're jumping ahead a bit, but it has Smith's speech, yes? Does it have, in its entirety, Clara's little spiel later?
it does not.
No.
I fucking thought so.
Reality 4,
Yeah.
TARDIS Wiki 1.
Because that's
Yeah, it's
that's
almost
just
like
a-
they only care about the white man who is playing the Doctor rather than anybody else.
Oh, stop.
Not-
Stop.
not
and
even
their emotional connections to things.
that's because that's what we're getting to. Do you want to keep quoting the speech or
I was just
Do we
going to
get the
finish the
point?
speech because it's a beautiful speech.
go ahead?
It's
Go.
amazing.
I walked away from the last great time war. I marked the passing of the Time Lords. I saw the birth of the universe and I watched as time ran out. Moment by moment till nothing remained. No time, no space, just me. I've walked in universes where the laws of physics were devised by the mind of a mad man. I have watched universes freeze and creations burn. I have seen things you wouldn't believe. I have lost things you will never understand. And I know things, secrets that must never be told. Knowledge that must never be spoken. Knowledge that would make parasite gods blaze. And this is the best bit. He starts shouting and says, so come on then. Take it. Take it all, baby. Have it. You have it all. And while this is happening, the music is swelling to a crescendo in the background. So the music...
Da-da-da-da!
So the music...
Sorry.
How to ruin a beautiful moment, 101. The
No,
music is
no.
actually part of the narrative.
You want ruining a beautiful moment? There you go.
Ruining or improving?
Yes.
I love this meme
English
so
versus
much.
bow tie.
It's a pretty
love
pretty
that.
good meme, yeah. And so he's just feeding all his memories to Akhaten. And he's overloading it, and everyone is happy ever after. Oh no, he doesn't, because Akhaten's actually not defeated.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, look at that. The grandiose, the huge, the epic story of the Doctor. The dare I say it, Cat, the white man with the infinity of continuity. All these stories that we love, no one loved, and all that was not enough to satiate the beast. What can we do then? Why, if only there was another figure, someone that was like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? A parallel to the Doctor? A duplicate?
I think the word you're looking for is
Doctor Who Mirror Alert! Whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh, yes, because you promised to play
Oh.
the new one, but you didn't promise to play the old one. I've been played.
Well played. Well, so, oh yes, we do have one of those, and her name is Clara Oswald. So she zooms in on the space moped to go help the Doctor. And what does she offer to this god who has consumed the epic and needs
Can-
more, more, more?
can I do this bit, because honestly it needs to be told in full.
Okay.
Please.
So at this time, Clara is trying to get out of there on the moped, and Mary is singing. The Doctor has fallen down. No, the Doctor's fallen. Anyways, and Clara has these memories. She has two very important memories that come to her in this moment. The first one is of her mother saying that she will always come find you every single time, and the second is of the Doctor saying, "We don't walk away." So Clara immediately goes back, steps up to where the Doctor is, and asks the big face on the sun, "Are you still hungry?" Takes her 101 places to see, opens it up, and takes out the leaf. And she says to the sun, "Well, I brought something for you. This. The most important leaf in human history. The most important leaf in human history. It is full of stories, full of history, and full of a future that never got lived. Days that should have been, that never were, passed on to me. This leaf isn't just the past. It's a whole future that never happened. There are billions and millions of unlived days for every day we live. An infinity. All the days that never came, and these are all my mums."
Yeah. Beautiful.
And I'm already tearing up.
Absolutely
because
beautiful, because Clara's tearing up while she's doing this.
And this, if I may, this is why this story is on the list of 10th worst Doctor Who story.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. This is why. Like, I completely understand why Doctor Who fandom put it here now that I've watched the episode. And of course, I completely disagree, but I understand. It is a rejection of the epic, the continuity, the grandiose, in favor of the small, the personal. The Doctor's stories aren't enough, but the story of one woman who didn't get to live out her days, the infinity of the personal, is what defeats the old god in the end.
Yeah.
For Clara and her memories are what do it instead of the Doctor. Rejection of the epic in favor of the emotional, the heart-moving, the heart-rending, the personal. That's why this episode is one of the greatest of all time. That's why Doctor Who fandom, as of 2013, wouldn't stand it.
Is wrong. That's why they're wrong.
Yeah.
And that defeats the old god.
It defeats
That
the
was
old
the
god. Matt Smith gets a fantastic line about, there's, "Are you full? Oh, I suspect so. After all, there's an awful lot of one, but there's an infinity of the other. And infinity is too much, even for your appetite." And
As
the
he
face
says,
disappears.
infinity. As he says infinity, he makes the listen to your little shit face for one frame.
Yeah.
This is where they got that screen grab.
Yeah. And not only that, but not only does Doctor Who, bloody hell. Not only does the Doctor and Clara, not only do they defeat the old god here, they also doom the residents of Akhaten to death by extreme freezing because they haven't got a Sunday ball.
No, let's not go there.
I'm joking, but this is an argument people actually tried to make, that this was not a good story, actually.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And I'm telling you that, well, actually, you're wrong.
Are you fucking kidding?
The sun doesn't explode, it's just that the face on it recedes, perhaps goes dormant forever. But the sun still exists.
Yeah.
Do you notice how Akhaten is the system of Akhaten. Sorry, I'm getting angry, but you notice how the 7 planets aren't just suddenly rushing towards each other in a big cosmic oblivion? That's because the sun's still there to keep the gravity in place, you morons.
Plus, I'm also sure if the sun suddenly disappeared, there'd be a lot more stuff going on than, just
Look,
standing there and being happy.
I will say it makes perfect sense for Doctor Who fandom with a capital F to try and logically nitpick and CinemaSins their way into explaining why they don't like this episode.
Logically nitpick a Doctor Who story. Who are we? Ian Levine?
But
Famed porn star Ian Levine?
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I did.
Well, now you have to put that in.
I've
right?
been debating for like a whole day since I found that out. Like angel on my shoulder, devil on my shoulder. Do I mention that fact or do I not? And Kat turns out she is the devil on my shoulder. She's going, do it, you got to do it. So
Yeah, earlier he was like, "There's an angel on my shoulder telling me not to do it, and a devil saying do it." I said, "No, the angel's going, I agree with the devil. Do it."
Well,
but there's two devils.
Choice out of your hand.
Then it's 2 devils, and
So-
then I've got a problem with my soul.
But yeah, the resolution. Shall we get to the resolution of the story?
And can I just say, TARDIS Wiki won Reality 5 because they missed out the most important part.
Oh, what's that?
The fact that Clara gets her mother's ring back.
No,
Oh.
it says here. It says
Oh.
here. He gives her back her mother's ring, saying the people that she saved want her to have it back.
TARDIS Wiki won Reality 4, Rainiac 0.
Well, technically, TARDIS Wiki has 2 because they got it right.
All right.
On a resolution in the TARDIS, Clara remembers seeing the Doctor at her mother's gravesite, and it's like, what the hell were you doing there? And he
Yeah.
says, you remind me of someone I knew, someone who died. And Clara's basically like, oh, okay, listen here. If you want me to travel with you, that's fine, but don't do it to try and replace because I look like someone else. I'm not a bargain basement stand-in for someone else, okay?
It's interesting,
Exactly.
isn't it? Because that's kind of Martha's conflict in the first part of Series 3.
Yeah.
Is she just being brought in to replace whoever the Doctor lost last time? No,
Which
she's her own
she
woman.
is. Which, yeah, I'd argue she kind of is, considering, it took her
She kind of
Rose's
is,
first
but she
day.
rejects that.
which good.
She's not Rose 2, she's Martha.
Martha's underrated.
Very much. I'm glad that she's coming back.
Yeah, as you say,
So one could say that to the Doctor, Clara is.
Oh, very good.
that's a good one. Nice disco. So yeah, like you said, the Doctor mentions, oh, Akhaten, they wanted you to have your mother's ring back as thanks for saving them. So she gets her memento back. All is well, and that is the Rings of Akhaten. So
I think
who
the
would
ring
like to go
going back to
first?
Clara is another reason why people don't like it. Oh, there's no consequences. Are you dense?
She lost her leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got it back in 6 episodes time, but
I mean,
I
That's a
said this when I
metaphysical leaf.
reviewed this episode on my own. What was it now? 2012?
8 years ago?
9 years ago.
Like-
Bloody hell, time flies when you're having fun.
2013. 2013.
Okay, 8 years ago. Still time flies when you're
Old.
having fun. So... No, you're right, because Oz was 2012. Yeah, you're right, 2013. So I said then that I thought that the leaf was going to be an important part of the finale, and then they just destroyed it, so it wasn't going to play into that. And then I called Moffat a troll because the leaf came into it after all in the finale.
Moffat? A troll? Never.
Yeah, I learned my lesson since then. Of course, he's a damn
Oh.
troll.
Shall we get into Rings of Akhaten final thought?
Yeah, we will, but I'll just say this. So the ring not being returned to Clara is like, oh, but nothing happened. That's nonsense. Again, it wasn't just about the destination, it was also about the journey. It's about the
Okay, good.
evolution of Clara and the Doctor's relationship. It's about the lessons that Clara learns, which enables her to ultimately defeat the enemy. Not the Doctor, Clara.
It's the same sort of logic that says, oh, Clara got out of hell bent scot-free and they undid her death.
Oh, we can't have the
No, she
companion be the...
didn't.
We can't
I know.
have...
The whole point was eventually she would go back to die, you idiots.
We can't have the companion be the one to triumph here because it's the Doctor's show, not the companion's. It's not called Companion Who, and
What? Laura, who?
All
Heaven
right, screw it.
forfend.
Screw it. It's time for a patented Doctor Who cat rant.
okay.
There's a very important thing that happens in many movies in which you have to have explanations. People have things like they will, be in a mystical place and need to know what's going on. Or they are suddenly given a lightsaber and told that they need to go and rescue people or something like that. And that they have a great destiny ahead of them. The way that we connect with these people is that we have somebody who doesn't know these things. It's like, I don't know the exact term for it, but I'm going to say they are the representation of the audience. They're the people who ask why, or how, or when, things like that. Questions that we, as the audience, cannot ask. So they are our, representation asking for us so that we have the knowledge to us.
Audience
When you
identification
take
figure.
out- I'm sorry?
Audience identification figure.
That's the one. We need these people who are there in order to be able to connect more to the actual story. So when you take out people like Clara or Amy or anything like that, you have to have somebody there to help with it. You have to. Otherwise, we'll be lost. It's like, do you know of a single time where the Doctor had absolutely nobody with him? No human characters, no alien characters, nobody next to him. It was just him in the episode, not interacting with anybody.
Heaven sent.
Heaven sent.
Don't patronize me. Also, no, he did have somebody he did play up against. It was the monster in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I
and
guess.
one could also say that technically he doesn't have to explain anything in that.
Yeah, I mean, he explains to the audience and himself as he goes along, but you're right.
Right.
It's like, I'm trying to make a point here. Don't, derail my entire point in one fell swoop.
But that's what you do to me all the time. And now I'm mirroring you.
Let's see.
So, is that the cat rant?
No, I'm just doing something. There we go. So anyways, now that he's properly muted and won't interrupt me. I only did it on the server, so... But my point is that there has to be somebody there in order for the Doctor to be able to explain these things, otherwise we'll be lost. In Heaven Send, he does explain it to the audience themselves. Because, in a sense, you could say that there's, this group of Time Lords watching him, whatever. But the point is that it's very, very rare for there to not be somebody there who you can explain things to.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say. And having that, that person there, I'm going to go ahead and unmute Raniac just so you can talk again. Having that person there really helps with everything because that way you have an idea of what's going on. So the fact that people are so mad about the fact that, people like Clara have something to do or Amy have something to do, and they're more to the actual episode than anything else, it doesn't make any sense to me because that is our avatar. That is how we connect to the Doctor in the story. By having these completely quote-unquote normal people who we go on the adventures with.
Exactly.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's because of somebody that the Doctor meets that he gets into these adventures. He goes to a certain place with them, or he learns something about them that he needs to check out. It's one of those things where you have to just calm down already. There's going to always be these people. And we want these people too. We want them to, go up against the Doctor and tell him off and all this. We want more Clara. because she was fantastic.
That thing is, I think Doctor Who fandom with the capital F wants more girls like, let's say Mel, who just twist their ankle and scream at the monsters, "Oh, Doctor, help me, help me."
And you know what? That's perfectly fine if they want that. What problem that I do have is the fact that they constantly, are derogatory towards people who don't want that all the time.
Exactly. I mean, we're being derogatory towards Doctor Who fandom with a capital F, but also like, if you like it, that's fine. I mean, I can forgive you for that. The only thing I can't forgive you for is liking.
We're not going to go into that. That was already well covered by some of our fandom with Little F friends earlier this week.
Yeah, that debate came up again because that does a ninth in the Twitter poll. So
That sure was a debate that I immediately muted on Twitter.
things never change.
I'm just not. I'm not here for that. I've had my 2 cents said about that, my 2 pennies. I don't need to go into that again. If you want to keep bringing up the same arguments, you can do, but I'm just not there for that.
You don't have the mental energy for it. I respect that.
The only winning move is not to play, and I choose not to play.
It's definitely one of those moments where it's like, you can try and say, oh, they're wrong, but the fact is that they will never think that they are wrong. So you just kind of have to accept it and not interact with those people because they will never accept that certain things are racist or problematic or anything like that.
Yeah. Bad but true. So,
essentially, the trash is taking itself out.
Shall we final thoughts, Akhaten?
Yeah, I'm getting quite angry now, so please, Frezno, tell me what you thought about this episode.
I think this is one of the greatest Doctor Who episodes ever, and I love it a lot. It hits on all the right emotional core levels. It's got great Clara moments. It's got great emotional moments. Murray Gold pulls in some belters with those moving songs, and it's about even the object system of objects with a permanence and sentimental value, and it projects the epic, the continuity obsessed nonsense for something intimate and personal. It's one of the most moving and beautiful Doctor Who episodes. In fact, I haven't gotten to this analogy yet, but considering that it's all about songs and feelings and understanding, it's the most Symphogear core Doctor Who episode I can think of. So that's why I love it so much. I'm being genuine. That's why I love it. I love it so much. Pohl is absolutely wrong about it. It's brilliant. So that's my review of Akhaten.
Oh my god, because it's about optimism and you're right. Oh no. Oh no!
It's my shit.
Okay, Gwen Stefani. So, Kat, what do you think about this episode?
I'm going to disagree with Frez on one point. This is not the greatest Doctor Who episode.
That's fine.
If only because Hellbent exists.
I mean, I said one of the greatest.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it above Hellbent. Hellbent is...
Neither would I.
Like, the greatest to me.
I mean, I love you and I agree. So yeah, I said one of the greatest. It's not above Hellbent, but it's a contender.
It's like not a whole lot can defeat something like Hellbent, where in the previous episode he punched through a diamond wall for billions and billions of years for Clara. And now he just goes and he decides to essentially destroy all of time for her. Holy shit. So actually, you know what? Hellbent and Heaven Sent, they're both tied for like the top one just because they're together.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
I think I just vindicated him.
I've been wanting to hear someone say that on this show for years. Thank you so much.
So, Rings.
Okay, so I agree with Kat. It's not one of the greatest ever.
I didn't actually get to finish.
I always said Reigns on Rings. Sorry.
I only talked about Hellbent and Heaven
I'm
Sent.
sorry. Shutting up now. Carry on.
I know you're excited, but holy shit, dude. So while I don't agree that it's one of the best episodes, and reserve that space for Hellbent and Heaven Sent, or Heaven Sent, Hellbent. Anyways, but it was honestly just such a good emotional episode, and I love that. I love being able to connect with these people, not in a way that makes it cheap or anything like that, but in the fact that we get to know Clara super well during this. We get to know the effect that these precious items have on her, and what her memories mean for her. And that is something that feeds into later episodes and plot points, and it just Clara is one of my favorites. I'm sorry. It's like it goes Clara and then Amy and Rory, and then after that it's a toss up.
You never have to apologise for liking Clara on this show.
Actually, it's probably Donna. So Clara, then Amy and Rory, and then Donna for companions.
I will defend your right to say Clara's awesome to the end, because I also happen to agree with it.
I love you too.
So great! I got to make both of them happy. I said that Heaven Sent Hellbent is one of the best episodes or duets, and then I went and praised Clara. So
I say we're easy boys to please.
This is true. Hey, look, Frezno mirror.
So that's Kat's position for life, basically guaranteed on this podcast now.
I liked it. I love Rings of Akhaten.
Congratulations on your promotion. But you liked it, that's great.
Yes.
I always like it when you like
Rain.
it.
Oh, I see how it is. I praise Murray Gold on the show, and I'm not the favorite.
I'm not playing favourites. I'm not Queen Anne.
Except I'm his favorite.
Wow! Don't make me get the spray bottle.
Hey, Rings, what did you think of the story?
Rings, what did I think of the story? Well, Akhaten, I agree with Kat that it's not one of the greatest of all time, but it is a lot better. It's certainly not one of the 10 worst. What the hell were they thinking with that poll?
I told
Seriously.
you.
This is a beautiful story. And we haven't mentioned who wrote this. It's Neil Cross. He did a fantastic job with this. He then wrote Hyde, which wasn't nearly as good.
It's fine.
It's not terrible, but it's not to the level of this at all. And then he never wrote again. And given that he wrote this, it's a shame he never came back, because this is damn good. I love the emotional aspects of it. I love the fact that music is used not just to provide music to the episode, but it's also a key important plot point. Music is songs are stories. Stories connect to souls. And people going, it's not a very good story because, nothing actually happened at the end. Were you watching? Oh, but the companion was the one who defeated the monster and not the Doctor. Have you watched the show at all? Rose beat the Daleks. Single-handedly, by the way. Donna beat the Daleks pretty much single-handedly. Beating Amy shot a bunch of silence to death and then left Madame Kavarian to die. Beating these big alien monsters is what Doctor Who companions do. I'm breaking out in hives for getting so angry. I'm sorry, I'll stop. But that really annoyed me. So the fan backlash to this episode, terrible. The episode itself, fantastic. Love the visuals. They're some of the best that Doctor Who has done in quite some time. The CGI looks terrific. Even the frowny face on Akhaten when it's revealed to be the old god. And now I've said frowny face, you can't unsee that. You're welcome.
Brand me this face.
The sheer scope and ambition of this script and the whole Alien Marketplace scene, it's just wonderful. The one criticism is that the Vigil are underused, but at the same time, where conceivably could you put them in? Would they have like a face turn and turn up to help with the song? What would you do?
Who knows?
Because they're not evil, really. They're just trying to... Well, they are entirely villainous, but... Maybe once it was revealed that the whole thing was a sham, they could turn up and lend their powers to Mary to help the Doctor. That's maybe the one thing I would change, but maybe that's too cheesy.
Not a story about monsters like the Vigil.
No, it's not a story about monsters. It's a story about souls and songs and stories.
and love and emotions.
And there are still people in
all the
2021
things
that
the
don't
Doctor Who
get
fandom
this.
hates.
And it makes me mad. And I'm breaking out in hives again. I loved it.
Can I just
So-
mention something that I noticed?
Mhm.
Which plays into the whole the Doctor Who fandom hates emotions thing.
Oh, what's that?
So we've spent some time watching classic serials, and we've spent some time, watching and in some cases rewatching, current serials.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess you can't really call them. You know what I mean.
Yeah. I know.
But something I've noticed is that the Doctor is a lot more willing to have that emotional connection in the current series than he did in the classic series.
Yeah?
So,
Yep.
he would sometimes get attached to somebody, but he wouldn't really be attached, if that makes sense.
Gee, I wonder if that's a sign of the times.
Possibly. It's like, I'm not saying that it has to be like Rose every single time where he has to fall in love or whatever. I wasn't too happy about that myself, because it seemed a little cheap. But I'm talking about real platonic love like he and Clara have. They are best friends. Super amazing best friends. And she was there with him from no eyebrows to angry eyebrows.
They become best friends. They're not quite best friends yet here.
Well, no, not here, but eventually they do become what I would call best friends. She is. I believe that she is the one that the Doctor will remember most, right next to Rose.
I mean, that's pretty much confirmed in Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's just.
That's so
It's
good.
like there were times where he was, the Seventh Doctor had Ace and he was nice to her, but there was also the times where he was unbelievably cruel to her. I mean,
Yeah.
just, some of the times where it's like, hey, let's go to that haunted house you were terrified of. Woo!
Yeah, and he was testing her, but you're right.
So, it's definitely one of those things where you notice that, and it kind of makes sense as to why the fandom can be so against emotion, because the fact that the classic Doctor Who serials didn't have as much emotion as the current Doctor Who serials. And I think that's where they kind of did themselves dirty. Because you can have a good story, but if you have an emotional connection to a good story, that's even better.
Yeah.
And now we have no time whatsoever to talk about Symphogear, and instead we're going to move on.
Good try, but not quite. I just want to bring one point up before we leave Rings behind. The whole scene of the crowd and Mary singing to the old god. Apparently Neil Cross devised that when he heard about how the French would drown out Nazi songs with the La Marseillaise.
Oh, so like in Casablanca.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's an interesting parallel there. So I will just
I
quickly
too
get to
can
the.
read the TARDIS wiki page.
I will quickly just get to the. Shut up. I will quickly just get to the minutiae of where you can find us. So you can find us on Twitter at ReviewsDoctor. You can find Jerry at Freezing Inferno, Kat at Concave Usurper, and myself at Reniac the Maniac. You can also write us an email at goisdump@gmail.com, and I will just briefly talk about Symphogear update.
Your update.
I'll hit the button, I guess.
Well, the good news is it might be the last time for a while you get to hit that button, because you've only seen up to Series 2, and so have I now. So,
Don't remind him.
I
Don't
watched the
remind
final
him.
3 episodes of Series 2.
Yay! Oh, spoiler warning.
Yeah,
Spoiler
I've put up a time on the screen. If you don't want to hear any of this, please skip to that time
Chris,
in the
look away.
podcast. Chris, look away and skip to that time in the podcast. So,
Beep, beep, beep.
the final 3 episodes of Symphogear G are a huge thing.
Dr.
Because
Fair is a shitlord.
he really is. So they resolved the whole thing about Miku and Hibiki getting shit blasted at the end of the last episode pretty quickly, and it was just as I suspected. Miku saved Hibiki and Hibiki saved Miku because they took each other's armor off in the laser blast. And the fragments of Gungnir were also removed from Hibiki's heart, so she'll live. So yay, she gets to live.
Yay!
But then we also resolved the whole Chris turned heel thing. And
Love this.
yes, I love this as well, because they really play into this being a genuine thing for about 10 minutes, and then they make it absolutely clear that oh no, this is just performative. She's actually tricking Dr. Ver, who is a piece of shit. He's a real piece of shit, and he finally shows his true colours here. He's not here to save the world, oh no.
Well,
To rule the
technically
world.
he's here to save the world, but he's here to do it in his own way.
Yeah. There'll be a small
By
amount of
killing-
survivors.
And he'll rule over them like a king.
Oh my god, it's Fine all over again.
No, it's even worse than that.
Yeah,
At
Fine's
least-
better than this guy. I'll say that for the record.
At least Fine wanted to like talk to God or whatever the fuck. This guy's just like, I want to be king of the world.
I mean, that was also... Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio. But... please nobody Photoshop that scene of Leonardo DiCaprio with Dr. Ver's first. Please never do that. Basically, Series 11, Episode 11 sets the scene for the last two. And we have our big conflicts. We have Tsubasa and Chris squaring off. We have Hibiki and Shiribe, because Shiribe is captured by Section 2. But then Hibiki speaks to her and says, you want to stop your friends, so please help us. And they give her back her pendant. She transforms. Hibiki goes with her against her boss's orders, which is hilarious.
So good.
And they just ride on Shiribe's death wheel like it's one of those pod races in Star Wars.
Beautiful.
But then Hibiki blocks her... Karika blocks her path. They have a fight. Chris and Tsubasa have a fight. And Hibiki runs towards Maria, who's having a crisis of conscience inside the control room. And Dr. Ver is delighted by all of this. He actually brings the moon down, by the way,
Yeah.
to demonstrate his power. So that whole thing about we got to keep the moon in orbit was a complete sham. And everybody was dumb enough to fall for it. Maria, Karika, and...
Well, it wasn't a complete sham. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was actually happening. He just accelerated it a bit.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, because he says the price of that trip was to bring the moon a little closer. But I don't mind.
So,
Oh my
Rain, would you
God,
like me to blow your mind real fast?
Go ahead.
Ooh.
What is Dr. Ver's main goal here? He wants to become a...
God.
No.
A hero.
Exactly. Frez, what was his full name?
John Wayne Vercingetorix.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, you know who John Wayne is, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
famous actor who played a lot of heroes.
Do you know who, how do you pronounce that again?
Vercingetorix was a Celtic chieftain who fought the Romans.
Who tried to be a...
Hero. Oh God.
Yeah.
His name is Hero Hero.
Yeah.
This show goes hard.
Yeah. And then episode 12 is the whole consequence of those two battles. So Shiribe and Karika fight. They fight so hard that they start using their climax songs on each other. Shiribe's is just a lot of saw blades, but Karika's is especially interesting. It's a big scythe that will cut your soul in half.
Yes.
And they fight for a bit, and then it looks like Karika is going to win the fight. And then a shield pops up between them. Wait a minute. That shield.
Oh my God.
That shield is Fine's trademark. Yeah,
wasn't Fine
Shiribe was
after
Fine
all.
the whole time.
What have I been fighting for? Oh, I wish I were dead.
And
Oh,
Karika
no.
tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
She just hooks the scythe in the air. It's like, I've been a bad girl, haven't I? But Shiribe, who I do not want to punch in the face, I want to protect now at all costs.
Welcome to my world.
Yay! He's on our side.
Chris is still best girl, but Shiribe is a close second place, surprisingly. For me, anyway. She takes the hit. She takes the scythe blade in the back. And this anime does not skimp on showing the blade impaled in her back. Good God.
Oh no. Her soul's going to be cut in half. How's she getting out of this one?
Good God Almighty, as God is my witness, she is ripped in half. So,
You've got to believe.
how does she get out of this? Well, Fine's ghost
The power
is how she gets out of this, because Fine's ghost comes through and says, I've taken the blow because I want you to give a message to Hibiki, and this is no longer a place for a ghost. And she just disappears. I don't know if she's ever going to come back. I suspect she might not, actually.
Redemption.
She gets her redemption by taking a scythe in the back. Interesting. And also redemption, Chris and Tsubasa, and this is just wonderful. They're fighting. Chris has got this collar on that Tsubasa immediately notices, and wait, why is it glowing? It's flashing because it's a goddamn explosive collar. Dr. Ver fitted Chris with a bomb.
Make sure she committed and didn't try to betray them.
That rat bastard.
Some days you just can't get rid of bomb.
I wish we could. But then there is a very dramatic moment where Chris does something she's never done before. She calls Tsubasa senpai.
This being a callback to the best scene, Spaghetti Chris.
Yeah, Spaghetti Chris. And I do love that screen cap. And
Me too.
when we next cut back from Chris's ultimate attack, Tsubasa appears to have been killed. Chris drags her in like a cat dragging in a mouse. And she says, well, I did what you said, so hand over the staff. And Dr. Ver's like, yeah, you really expect to keep my bargain. And he presses the detonator. And it doesn't go off. And he presses it again. It doesn't go off. And it turns out that Tsubasa cut the link.
Oops.
Guess what? When Chris said this is the ultimate team attack, it was the ultimate team attack they were working on about 5 episodes earlier.
They knew how to dodge it.
So she knew how to dodge it, and she let her dodge. Because guess what? It was all a ploy the whole time. Chris is not evil. The others didn't know about it, but she's not evil. All is right with the world.
Not truly villainous.
No, she really isn't. She felt guilty about the Staff of Solomon, and she concocted her own crazy plan to get it back.
It's like they communicated something with each other and found mutual understanding and then managed to win through the corruption arc.
And then episode 13 is Maria's redemption, because Chris has had hers, and Karika and Shiribe have reconciled, and lesbians, yay, and it's all touching and sad and life-affirming. But Maria is having a real crisis because Dr. Verse sent her mother to the moon.
Yeah.
Our patch is like, we can use this technology to maybe reset the moon and put it back in orbit, save everyone. It's like, if you want to go to the moon so bad, you go first! Blasts her out into space. Maria's going to kill him. Hibiki jumps in front of the spear like an idiot, grabs it, and takes it on board, and she's Symphogear Hibiki again.
This is the closest. This is the most Deus Ex Machina the show ever gets, but I can roll with it.
So Symphogear Hibiki is back. And then episode 13 is the climax to this whole saga, and it is just wonderful. So it's now 5 of the girls who have come to their senses versus Dr. Ver's completed Nephilim beast, or perhaps Perfect Chaos, if you want to use a Sonic reference. I mean, it is just Perfect Chaos.
And now all 6 of them come together to beat the crap out of this monster.
Oh, they do, because Maria has been trying to stave off the moon with her songs, and she connects to the whole world. It doesn't seem to work. She has another crisis of faith. But then, because she's lost Gungnir at this point, Hibiki's taken it for herself. She gets a visit from her dead sister's ghost, Serena. And this convinces her to use Serena's old relic to fight the monster. And this is the showdown. You've got 6 Symphogear powered girls versus 1 perfect Nephilim monster, and Dr. Ver egging it on in the background in the Frontier control room.
Yeah.
While Eye Patch Lady has somehow been restored by Maria's song, and she's wearing armor now, and she reboots the moon, so that part is safe. We still have the problem with Dr. Ver and the Nephilim to deal with.
Well,
and we resolve it through the power of anime fighting, because...
Well, also with Chris's redemption, because what's their plan?
Oh yeah, they're going to create a gateway with the Staff of Solomon to the noise dimension. I don't know what it's really called.
The Treasury of Babylon.
Thank you. Treasury of Babylon is a much better name than noise dimension, and then they are going to force this thing into it and seal it up. That's plan A. So after a lot of very high-powered attacks, they weaken it, but they don't destroy it outright. They force it towards the portal, but it grabs Maria and pulls her inside with it. So the girl's like, we don't leave anybody behind here. They go in the portal with them, and it shuts behind them. Then,
and B, get out of the treasury.
How do we get out of the treasury? Through the power of friendship.
Friendship.
again.
Hell yeah.
And they grab the staff of Solomon.
No. Friendship? Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I opened myself up to that one. And what follows is an absolutely awesome moment, like a shining moment of epicness. Maria opens the gateway. Is it Maria? Yeah, Maria opens the gateway with the staff, amplifies it with her powers, and so they're going to get out of here. One small problem: the Nephilim is faster. It's heading back towards the real world, out of the treasury of Babylon, which will defeat the whole point of the purpose. And then all of them decide to come to the same idea. The quickest way to somewhere is a straight line. They hold hands. All 6 of them. They sing 6 superb songs in perfect frequency with Hibiki resonating it like she always does. But then there's the silver and gold hands, and they clasp in front of them.
Maria and Hibiki's hands. Yeah.
Yeah, like these big hands clasp in front of them, and that's the power to defeat the Nephilim.
Holding hands.
It's just amazing.
Literally holding hands. Oh, and then they get out, but how are they going to shut the portal?
Well, they don't just get out. They blast a hole in this thing, and having said, it's invincible, they hit it so hard it's going to explode. But it's going to take the real world with it, because the explosion is so big. And nobody is everyone's injured from the fight. They can't get to the staff. But it's okay, because...
Who's that? Who's that? My God! My God!
It's Stone Cold. No. It's Miku. These wonderful writers, they give Chris redemption, they give Maria redemption, they give Kuriko and Shirime redemption, and they give Miku goddamn redemption. Because
you get redemption, and you get redemption.
She picks up the Staff of Solomon, hucks it like an Olympic level javelin thrower into the portal that closes behind just as the Nephilim goes boom. The staff is gone for good. The Nephilim's gone for good. The noise might be gone for good. They won't be gone for good, will they? Because we won't have a show then for 3 more seasons.
It's like, 3 more seasons.
I can't say anything at this point because neither of you have gotten...
And the last thing to point out is that Dr. Vare, I was like, well, why don't they kill him? But that's the point.
The show answers that question for you.
If they kill him, he becomes a martyr. And a martyr is a kind of hero.
Yeah.
And Jinjuro is not going to have that happen on his watch.
So no, they're going to lock that motherfucker up.
Yeah, you get to live to...
jail cell.
Brainiac, my dear friend Brett,
yes?
I have to ask.
Yes?
Did you notice a certain line that Dr. Vare said to Maria?
Oh, God.
Oh, about the saving the small amount of survivors?
Well,
yeah, I think I told him about this.
Part.
I think I told him about
you
this.
You told me
line,
about
actually.
this, yes, but please.
But you say it for the podcast.
Part where he, I want to say it was maybe 11 or 12.
Somewhere there. It's
11
11 maybe.
When he has the big old hand.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point he turns to Maria and he slaps her and he's like, "Yeah, you're shit. You're not gonna do anything to stop me. The plan's gonna go. Haha, I'm evil." And then he also happens to say, "When I get back, we're going to talk about repopulating the planet."
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
He's going to force himself upon Maria and the other 2 girls. Oh my God.
I'm just going to get a second opinion here. Hey, tell him what you think of Dr. Vare.
His silence says all.
Dr. Vare. He's thinking.
Tell him he's allowed to
No,
curse
I can't
on the
remember.
show.
Then again, I don't waste brain space on dead meat.
Wow!
Oh, bird!
We're not going to go any further than that. That's the perfect way to end that on. So,
and that was Symph Gear Update.
Yeah, spoiler off the screen. Unfortunately, I haven't watched anything more than Series 2 yet. I've been too busy. So when we eventually get to watching Series 3, we'll do another Symph Gear Update.
Well, we can't do a Symph Gear Update until Kat also catches up with you. I said
we.
We. So, Kat, catch up with him.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What do you mean catch up with me? She's at the same level as I am.
You want to know something fun, Frez?
Oh, what's that?
So, have you heard of a little thing called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Yes, I've seen it.
Dr. Vare has the same voice actor as Joseph Joestar.
Yeah, he sure does. Which is
Yay!
fucking wild to me.
Wait, it's the
Okay.
same voice actor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, now the Symphogear update
we
is
should
done.
mention it's the Japanese voice actor.
Yeah.
So now the Symphogear update is done, maybe we should get to what's next.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
your
I have the
choice.
floor. So you ruffled me last time, so I'm going to be predictable. Next time on Doctor Who Reviews, Tom Baker in The Sunmakers.
I ruffled you?
Yeah, you remember? It was like, oh, you're going to pick some anti-capitalist thing. And then
That
I went,
ruffled you?
Love and Monsters.
That actually ruffled you? I thought that was good.
Yeah, well, then we had to watch Love and Monsters, so
And who picked that?
yeah.
You both
because
did.
Because you rustled me.
But whose choice was it to actually? Yeah, all right. We're
both did.
both terrible. So
You're both to blame for that.
the Sunmakers, yeah, I've seen this one a long time ago.
So Tom Baker, anti-capitalist, the usual virtual left gonzo stuff you expect from me.
It's very famous for its ending, or a particular element of the ending.
I can't wait. So we've already said where we can find this lovely people. So
We have, so we can
say
wrap
goodnight,
it up.
Brainiac.
So thank you to
Say
you, the
goodnight, Brainiac.
audience, for listening to us talk about Rings of Akhaten. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Jerry and Faket for joining me to discuss the Rings of Akhaten. I know you enjoyed it, but you didn't like the discourse around it.
Thank you to BlazeFury for letting me stay in this house for the weekend and record in this house.
And thank you for having a small cameo, because that thing about Dr. Vare was ice cold and
Oh,
entirely...
I'm supposed to say something?
Yeah, I was talking to you. He wasn't even listening. He was on his tablet or whatever.
You can find
Oh,
BlazeFury at
hold on.
whatever the hell his Twitter handle is.
What's your Twitter?
No idea.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's the right answer.
But oh my God, this man's on a galaxy brain level
This
above
man
us
is
all.
intelligent. Oh no.
Say
I'm
goodnight,
having such a
Brainiac.
good time right now.
Good night, Blaze. And until then, join us next time. That's completely thrown me. God damn it. Join us next week when we discuss what would you pick, the Sunmakers.
Yeah.
Join us next time when Tom Baker stars in the Sunmakers. Until then, bye for now.
Which, in my big silence arc discussion post I did on my blog a while back, I mentioned that the Doctor treating Clara like a mystery to be solved is not good, but from his perspective, you can kind of see why, because, he just spent the previous season with the whole time travel assassins and convoluted plot, so... what the fuck?
Oh,
Buzzsaw
Sorry.
McGraw.
sorry.
What the hell was that?
A drill.
I see. I get a feeling after the podcast, I'm gonna get sent to the Shadow Realm
Yeah, it's for your birthday, man.
for my. Oh, you're even better.
For your birthday, I'm sending you to the Shadow Realm.
Oh boy. Oh, yeah.
Such good
The,
design.
the... Buzzsaw McGraw, stop.
What in
Sorry,
the name of God is drilling?
it's me. I'm trying to put Juker on her platform, and I didn't realize how noisy it was.
With a drill?
Yes.
Good God.
I need to put in pegs so that she will have something to stand on to help support
Uh,
her.
I
Yeah.
understand.
I'll mute myself.
multitasking.
While he's gone, I'm just going to go ahead and get this
So we
marked
got
out.
90 minutes. So we got 90 minutes to finish the story. I think we can do that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, it's Rings of Akhaten. It's not like we're watching a 6-episode epic.
But of course, we also have to put in the final figure update, though. You got to do that. No, Mom, I can't come downstairs to the football. I'm doing Symphogear update.
It's supposed to be rain.
Yeah. He's not here to hear it. Oh, wait. You can listen to the record. Well, he won't. He probably won't listen to the recording.
You realize that he's the one who edits these, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna listen to all this bit.
You say that.
I say that. Well, Rain, fucking call me out if you're listening to this bit. DM me like I don't know, eggplant. There you go. Now we'll know in a couple of days. Whoop.
Sorry, Junko just fell on me.